Those of you listen to the last podcast we had Shiva on, and today, since then, a lot has been revealed. Now, it was a short space of time, a lot has been revealed in terms of the entire TSTT hack and data being released, and, people saying, no, there was no hack, and then having to backtrack and all that.
The last episode title was TSTT Hacked. Well, maybe. The episode title today is TSTT Hack. We're sure about it now.
Yeah.
So, let me jump straight into that one time because we have a lot to go through with respect to this TSTT hack. It's the biggest tech news for the year as far as I know.
Biggest tech news for the year in Trinidad.
In Trinidad. Yeah.
And Tobago.
Yeah, correct. What else happened that is worthwhile? Nope, only talk. Alright, so we found this, you found this article on LinkedIn, I believe. And I don't think, we don't know the guy personally, but
yeah, you could share.
He seems very credible. His name is Alex Sam. He is listed as a consultant, pen tester, ISO forensic DevOps, and a musician and maker after hours. Okay, good to meet you, Alex. So he has a summary of everything, and we kind of want to give Alex his flowers for this really well laid out article. And we'll kind of go through it in...
So that first point that by itself, you could talk a lot on that. You could talk about that first point.
Internal administrative credentials, usernames and passwords used by TSTT staff for access to systems and servers managed by TSTT. In case you were wondering, administrative credentials can basically allow a person to do anything on the systems.
Yeah.
So... we thought it was just names and email addresses and whatnot.
Yeah.
But I saw, because many people have sent me multiple screenshots, videos, all kind of things. I'm not bothering to share it with anybody or share it around or do any big set of videos and things on it because I really want to make them feel that, I am a source of these things. I don't have time for that. But the credentials for the administrator file systems, the customer information, of course, source code for their applications, daily reports showing calls to locations of carrier information, dumps of databases that show the passwords for the cashier accounts, scan documents that include IDs, passwords, and receipts, and all sorts of other documents, right? So this is the information that's out there. So let's do a quick analysis of what are the ramifications of the information. So the first one, usernames and passwords used by staff. What do you think will be the biggest issue there?
I mean, that's a pretty big issue. That's access to all the systems. Not just access to see your data, but access to read and write. It's not just read only data. You can read and write if you have access. Admin access and somebody that know what they're doing,
So, okay. So you think that the hackers got this information and then just held it there for ransom, or do you think they dug into it and started to take these credentials and play around inside TSTT?
I'm not sure, but it all goes back to how exactly the ransomware attack occurred. Because from reading and stuff, it have a couple of ways ransomware could occur. It could be a phishing email. Somebody in TSTT could click on an attachment, something gets installed. It could be vulnerable software that didn't patch. Somebody writes something and, they exploit that vulnerability. So it all depends.
It could just be that they got through to the system, they found the database, and they just run a command and download all the files, store it in a zip file and say, cool, we have all that information there. Because I'm not 100% sure that most professional ransomware attackers, their goal is not the analysis of the data. Their goal is the collection of the data and the ransom for it. And if the company doesn't pay, they say, okay, well, we will sell it to people who will actually use this nefariously.
Yeah, I mean, when you do the like the attachments via the phishing, you know, what is actually happening is normally like install ransomware software. So that software itself, once it get on a computer, it would do that.
Right, it's lock it down, yeah. So that's what they normally do for like hospitals and whatnot. So a big thing comes up on the screen, you won't have access to your system until you transfer money to this account and whatnot, and then the system will just basically open back up. But this one is not like a ransomware, it's more like data was captured and held at ransom.
And so it had something that TSTT did that was kind of disingenuous, so to say, you know, they kind of try to play it down, not disingenuous, they more or less try to play it down, you know, more or less say, you know, it was only 6 gigs of data, you know.
Oh, and we generate terabytes of data.
Not even terabytes, those you want higher than petabytes.
Petabytes, yeah.
Yeah, it was like, we generate that for just one customer, but at the same time, the ransomware company was like,
wait, they really say petabytes?
Yeah.
For real?
I think so. I think I saw that in the article. That same article that we have there when they came out and said, well, yeah.
All right, but we'll see when we go to it. It had no way TSTT generating a petabyte of data. Like, I bet.
You know, but what I'm going to say is that, you know, these, the ransomware people, they could have just be a drop in the bucket that they just put 6 gigs out there just to show, hey, we have the data, there's a sample. Cause
right.
I don't think they're going to put a 6 petabytes or whatever data out. You know?
That's what ransomware people do.
So again,
sample out there to sell it.
Yeah, so hopefully, so they try to downplay it in that sense, but at the same time, you don't really know how much they really have. Probably that's really 6 just to show, hey, to test the waters and say.
Maybe. All right. So for this first point, definitely every single username and password inside TSTT had to change.
Yeah.
Every single server, every single cloud, every single one of them. If they change it by now.
When it goes lower down, you see it have an Excel file with all the IPs and server.
All right. Let's see. Credentials used by TSTT administrators for file systems. File systems, that's access to the files. So, yeah, they had to change that too. I don't think there's anything else besides accessing customer files. Well, no, file systems mean that's like their HR stuff and all them kind of things.
So like, let me say, it's dangerous for the external people, right? We established that, but just people internal to TSTT, it had different layers of access certain people should have. You know, and let me say I'm a junior member of staff.
Your salaries could get really something.
No, let me say I'm a junior member of staff or whatever, right? But I have access to the system, but ordinarily I don't have access to different high-level stuff. With this information being leaked, I could go and access.
And see.
You know, I have access to everything as a junior staff or as a, as a lower-level staff. You know have, but you would hope that, people have integrity. They won't go and use.
Integrity, such a nice
bank passwords to do stuff, So you open yourself up to internal exploits too.
Alright, customer personal identifiable names such as full names, addresses, telephone numbers, email addresses, and even company names. Well, we spoke about that one last week.
Yeah.
All of that information, identity theft, phishing, email. They might do some brute force on the email or something.
I see a comment. Somebody was like, what the most they're going to do, they're going to take Hollywood Island for that. Hollywood, but that in itself is real pain, Island finance rates is what, like 20% interest.
And it does go up and up. What I think with the identity theft is there are some companies that allow you to register for things online and just upload all of your documents without being physically there. But I believe most banks or anybody, any big organization, banks especially, they won't let you create an account or do something without being there to sign up. So you had to be physically there to sign. But there are places where you could do everything virtually, but I couldn't think of any like where you could
So like, all right, I'll give you an example. Like when I opened my brokerage account, right? It more or less a US-based brokerage account. They just ask for your passport and I think your BIR number for tax information and whatever, right? But for the proof of address part, right, they actually asked you to turn on your location and you had to take a selfie, so
Okay.
the selfie more or less had to match your passport and it had somebody verifying it. So even if you had my documents, you needed, to take a selfie.
Right, so correct. So what I'm thinking is whenever a company or institution allows you to register online, they must require you to take a picture on the spot to verify, because that's the only thing that you could do to avoid the identity theft. But when it comes to identity theft, let's say I have your passport, your bank information and whatnot, you can call a bank, some banks, and the people call you, and the CSR will ask the person on the phone, basically, would say, okay, please tell me what's your date of birth. Yeah, what is your thing? What is that?
Yeah,
the only thing that they can catch you with is security questions. Because some places have security questions still, and I'm not too sure if you could. And the telebanking is still, I was trying to say that telebanking is still a thing, and you could go and call and via telephone transfer money from one place to another.
Oh, you could do that?
Yeah, you can. I
didn't even know you could do
banks,
that.
Yeah. Most banks trying to shut off their telebanking system, but there are actual, not old people, but people who are aged who
who use that system. Still people who just still leave voicemails.
Right. Yes. Correct. Correct. So the telebanking system is actually there, and once you have all of your information, you could call and transfer money. So I would guess that, because banks starting to throw away that telebanking system and start to make people do their banking online, I don't think it'll be too much of an issue. But that's definitely a big identity theft issue. But other than that, I can't see identity theft being as big, because there are plenty safeguards in place by most institutions right now.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, like the example I give where you need a selfie, there would be some places where you don't need that, but again, like how much risk you really gonna be at in terms of losing money or,
Yeah.
In Trinidad, we just kind of come down on the banks for all the KYC thing. You need 5 sources of income, you need 2 forms of ID, you need this, you need that, but in this case, it's a good thing because you need a lot to do to open a bank account with that information. You need a lot. You still have to go in, you can't do it online. So in a sense,
we have a little cushion. Yeah, with the amount of data that's out. I mean, it's still a very, very bad thing. If somebody want to craftily do something against a targeted person, all that information, especially the letters of indebtedness and those sort of things, knowing somebody's financial status, that real big too.
Yeah,
because
more so people that kind of exposed, I sure it have a lot of politicians.
Yes, correct. Yeah,
addresses, phone numbers.
Yep, and their financial status also.
Yeah, that out there now. Not even sure. I know.
Oh yeah.
I know that they are exposed as well.
Control F on the spreadsheet, and you're finding, you could search for any name that you want.